The grand hall of the Galactic Accord hummed with the weight of history. Towering pillars of crystalline metal soared into the vaulted ceiling, each etched with the sigils of countless species, emblems of treaties, victories, and broken promises. Amidst the gathered delegates from dozens of star systems, Elder Terrell stood with a quiet dignity that betrayed centuries of wisdom and sorrow. He raised his voice, firm but low, commanding the attention of the assembly. Before we proceed with the survey of the Sol system, I must remind all present of the warning entrusted to us by the elders before their passing. The humans, he let the word hang in the air like a knife, are not like any species we have encountered. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some faces showed curiosity, others thinly veiled disdain. Kexa, the young and ambitious ambassador from the Viralan Dominion, leaned forward with a smirk. With all due respect, Elder Terrell, those warnings are relics of a bygone age. Humans vanished nearly 200 cycles ago. Their star system is a barren graveyard. What threat could they possibly pose now? Terrell's eyes narrowed. It is precisely because they vanished that we must proceed with caution. The elders spoke of humans as a species driven by a ferocious will to survive, far beyond what biology or technology could explain. Their evolution was unnatural, unpredictable. The Accord chose to seal their records and forbid interference, but the truth remains buried. A holographic display flickered to life above the Council's dais, showing a star map centered on the Sol system. Its orbiting planets shimmered lifelessly, cloaked in thick clouds of pollution and ruin. Earth's surface is scarred by war and decay, Terrell continued. Our probes have returned data indicating a toxic atmosphere, no signs of orbital activity, and no communications since the collapse. Yet our last encrypted signal from the outer system hints at a dormant presence. I urge caution. Kexa laughed softly, drawing a few glances. Dormant presence or not, it will not stop us. The Viralans have waited centuries for a chance to claim new worlds. If Earth's dead, it is ripe for terraforming. We can repurpose its resources and expand our reach. No species can stand in the way of progress. The council chamber's ambient light dimmed as the High Elder's chair, the ancient chair of judgment, glowed with a soft azure. The High Elder herself, a towering figure wrapped in flowing robes, tapped her staff lightly on the floor. Enough, she intoned. We have debated this for too long. The Elder's warnings are noted, but we must not be shackled by fear of shadows. The Accord shall authorize the survey fleet. If the humans are truly extinct, we will secure the system for all. A ripple of assent followed, but Elder Terrell remained uneasy. As the council dispersed, he lingered, eyes drifting to a hidden alcove behind the dais. There, the forbidden archives lay sealed, a vault of knowledge about humanity, locked away for generations. Minutes later, the chamber's secure communications channel suddenly sparked to life. A burst of static, then a faint transmission. The council chamber fell silent as a garbled voice crackled through the speakers. Let, sleep, or face the fire. Whispers erupted. The voice was unmistakably human. Old English, fragmented but clear. Kexa's smirk vanished as she scanned the readouts. What is this? A trick? An ancient distress beacon? Terrell's expression darkened. No trick. This is the voice of a species warning all who dare awaken them. The High Elder banged her staff again, calling the chamber to order. Prepare the survey fleet. Approach Earth with extreme caution. And send a request to all council members. We must convene an emergency session. As the chamber emptied, Terrell stood alone, staring at the darkened star map. His mind raced through decades of forbidden memories. Stories of humanity's ferocity, their impossible resilience, and the nightmare they had once unleashed upon the stars. They warned us, he whispered, and no one listened. Far above the ruins of Earth, silent in the void, something ancient stirred, watching, waiting for the day it would rise again. Commander Vulek stood on the bridge of the Viralan scout ship Relentless, his eyes fixed on the blue-green orb spinning slowly below them. From orbit, Earth appeared a ghostly relic, Oceans choked with acidic foam, continents scarred with deep craters and creeping wild overgrowth. There was no sign of human life, no orbital defenses, no broadcasts. Surface scan complete, the ship's AI intoned. Atmosphere composition unstable, radiation levels high, no detectable life forms. Vulek's jaw tightened. That matches the report's dead world, but the data relay from the outer system was too strong for a simple relic. Unidentified signal detected, the AI added, originating from the northern hemisphere, approximately the coordinates of former North America. Vulek frowned. Prepare the landing party. I want a full sweep of that area. Scan for any infrastructure, active power sources, and keep your sensors on full alert. The scout ship's descent pierced the thickening atmosphere, buffeted by turbulent storms unlike any weather the Virulons had seen. Lightning flared above rusting skyscrapers half buried by twisted vines, monuments of a civilization lost to time. Touching down on the cracked pavement of what was once Washington, D.C., the landing party disembarked cautiously. The air was heavy with acrid smoke and the faint metallic tang of decay. Silence pressed in on them, broken only by the faint hum of distant machinery. Vulek motioned forward. Split into teams, secure the perimeter and locate the signal source. As the teams advanced, their scanners picked up faint energy signatures beneath the rubble. Finally, they found it. A massive, steel-reinforced bunker entrance hidden under the wreckage of an ancient museum. Commander, energy readings indicate this bunker is powered. Full life support and cryogenic systems operational, reported Lieutenant Jarrell, her voice tinged with disbelief. Vulek knelt beside the heavy hatch which bore an emblem, an eagle clutching arrows and olive branches, faded but unmistakable. Open it, slowly. With a hiss, the hatch slid aside, revealing a narrow stairwell descending into darkness. The landing party drew their weapons, advancing into the cold, subterranean silence. The bunker's interior was a stark contrast to the desolation outside. Bright lights flickered on, illuminating pristine corridors lined with cryptic symbols and screens still alive with data streams. In a secure chamber, rows of cryogenic pods stood dormant, their frost-coated glass sealed tight. Next to them, a console blinked with a message in Old English script. Let us sleep. Let us rest. Wake us only when the fire comes. Lieutenant Jarrell frowned. These must be the last survivors. But why would they hide like this? Suddenly, the bunker's AI system, designated Argus, activated with a soft mechanical voice. Intruder detected. Identity unrecognized. Initiate security protocols. Vulek signaled for calm. We mean no harm. We seek only to understand. Argus paused, then responded. Understood. Warning logs detected. Humans in stasis. Wake-up protocols disabled unless authorized. The AI's voice softened. Warning. Do not awaken unless necessary. The fire will consume all. Before Vulek could respond, the bunker shuddered as if reacting to a tremor deep beneath the surface. The lights flickered, and a low rumble echoed through the halls. Argus continued almost hesitantly. Power surge detected. Cryogenic seals failing on Pod 47. Reviving occupant. A hiss of released gas filled the chamber. The pod's glass frosted, over then cleared. Inside, a figure began to move, an armored human, eyes snapping open with sharp awareness. Major Arya Voss gasped, breathing ragged but controlled. She scanned the room quickly, noting the alien intruders. Where am I? She demanded, voice steady despite obvious confusion. Commander Vulek, we've woken a human operative, Lieutenant Jarrell whispered, awe and fear mixing in her. Tor Arya's gaze locked onto the Virulons. You should not be here, you should not have come. Outside, the storms grew worse, lightning lashing the ruined skyline like the planet itself was stirring from a long nightmare. Vulek exchanged uneasy glances with his team. We seek only answers. Why were you hidden? What happened to your world? Arya's eyes darkened. We were betrayed, destroyed by the very stars we once called home. We sleep beneath the ashes, waiting for the fire. Her words hung heavy in the air, a warning and a promise both. In the shadows of the ruined earth, the last embers of a forgotten species were beginning to burn once more, and the galaxy had no idea what was about to awaken. The cryogenic pod hissed as the frost vaporized, revealing a woman with sharp, steely eyes and tightly cropped hair streaked with premature silver. Major Arya Voss's gaze swept the strange alien faces surrounding her. She took a measured breath, muscles tensed like a coiled spring. Her combat suit, though cracked and aged, still held faint traces of advanced technology, a relic of a war humanity barely survived. Commander Vulek stepped forward cautiously, his voice calm but firm. Major Voss, I am Commander Vulek of the DU. Varellan Dominion, we mean no harm. Please help us understand what happened here. Arya's eyes narrowed. You didn't come here by accident, Commander. No one does. Her voice carried the weight of battles fought long ago and secrets buried deep beneath the Earth's ruined surface. Behind her, the cryo chambers began to unlock one by one, releasing hissing breaths of life. More humans, soldiers, engineers, scientists, emerged, blinking against the harsh lights, their bodies enhanced with biomechanical augmentations that gave them a strange, almost otherworldly appearance. Lieutenant Jarrell whispered, "They're not like any humans we've ever known." Arya's voice hardened. "We are the last cohort, the final defenders of a broken world. We were frozen after the collapse, a war you refuse to believe happened." Vulek frowned. "Collapse?" Arya gestured toward a holographic map activated by Argus, projected into the center of the chamber. Star systems lit up with red warnings and quarantine zones. 2 centuries ago, humanity faced an invasion unlike any other. A cosmic force descended on Earth and its colonies. Without faster-than-light travel, no allies, no reinforcements, and we fought alone. She paused, eyes burning with a fire that seemed to rekindle with every word. We won, but at a terrible cost. The planet was devastated. Civilization collapsed. We chose to sleep to wait. But we never forgot. And now that you've come, the war is not over. A murmur rose from the assembled Virelans. The story was unlike anything recorded in their galactic histories. Arya's gaze locked onto Vulek. Your elders warned you. We warned you. But no one listens until the flames consume them. Suddenly, Argus's voice interrupted, cold and precise. Alert. Unidentified fleet detected approaching Sol system. Military escalation probable. Vulek cursed under his breath. They're coming for us. Outside the bunker, the skies darkened as the first of the Virellan survey ships descended into Earth's atmosphere. But this time, the planet was alive. Storms roared to life with unnatural fury, and the ground trembled beneath the ruins of forgotten cities. Arya's squad moved swiftly, activating hidden caches of ancient weaponry and repurposed alien tech buried beneath Earth's surface. Autocannons hummed, missile silos blinked to life, and drones, once dormant, sprang from concealed launch bays. They think we're weak because we're few, Arya said, voice low but fierce. But they forget. We fight like humans, the Virellan landing party scrambled to regroup as explosions rocked the perimeter. The humans fought with brutal efficiency and terrifying tactics. Guerrilla strikes, ambushes, and cyber warfare that disrupted communications and commandeered enemy drones. Vulek ordered a retreat, but the damage was done. They're not the extinct species we believed, he said grimly. They are something far worse. Arya watched the chaos from the bunker's observation deck, her eyes distant but resolute. We were born from war, forged by desperation, and we will not fall. Again, as the Virellan fleet withdrew, the humans began to reclaim their homeworld, not as victims, but as avengers. The galaxy had dismissed their warning. Now, it would pay the price. In the cold, dimly lit command center beneath the Earth's scarred surface, Major Arya Voss gathered her reawakened cohort around the glowing holomap. The faces of the last humans, battle-hardened, wary, and augmented, reflected a grim resolve that centuries of waiting had sharpened to a razor's edge. "Listen, closely," Arya began, voice low and steady. "What you've heard about Earth's fall is only half the truth. Our history was erased from galactic memory, buried under lies and fear. But now the time has come to remember, and to act." Commander Vulek, still aboard the Relentless in orbit, watched the broadcast that Argus had hijacked and transmitted across the Galactic Accord's networks. The transmission was simple but powerful, a message from a species thought extinct. We remember. We return. The council chambers erupted into chaos. Ambassadors shouted, disputes ignited, and factions formed overnight. Some called for peace talks, others demanded preemptive strikes. Fear spread faster than any plague. Back on Earth, Arya unfolded the full story. 2 centuries ago, our ancestors faced an invasion from beyond the known galaxy. A force so vast and ruthless, it sought to harvest worlds for their resources and enslave entire species. We stood alone. No allies. No faster-than-light travel, no external help. Our survival meant innovation beyond limits. She tapped a control, and the holomap shifted to show an ancient battle. Earth's skies darkened by unknown warships, cities burning under firepower unlike anything recorded. We fought not with advanced technology gifted by others, but with our greatest weapon, adaptability. We rewrote our DNA. We turned our minds into weapons. We became more than human. The room absorbed the revelation. Some Virellans recoiled, unable to comprehend such desperate transformation. Others exchanged uneasy glances. "Your elders knew of this," Arya said, turning toward a stunned Vulek's image. "They hid the truth because they feared what humanity would become if awakened prematurely. They labeled us dangerous, and they sealed us away beneath the ashes of a dead planet." Argus's voice echoed through the command center. "Protocol override. Warning, the Accord's fleets are mobilizing for containment." Arya's jaw clenched. "They think we are a threat to be extinguished, but we are a warning, a promise that survival demands sacrifice and unity beyond species or politics." A comm alert flashed. It was from the Galactic Accord's High Elder. Her voice, strained but commanding, cut through the tension. "Major Voss, the Accord extends an offer. Surrender and cease all hostilities. We seek peaceful reintegration of humanity into the galactic community." Arya's reply was cold steel. "Peace was offered once before. We rejected it because the Accord abandoned us when we needed them most. We will not surrender. We will not fall again." On the Relentless, Commander Vulek's hands tightened into fists. "These humans are no longer the primitive species we catalogued. They're a force born from desperation, and they remember every scar." Far from Earth, the Galactic Council debated fiercely. Some species feared an unstoppable new power. Others worried about the destabilization of centuries-old alliances. Elder Tyrell, frail but unyielding, warned, "Humanity does not wage war like the rest of us. They fight with a unity forged in extinction." We ignored the Elder's warnings. Now we awaken a storm. As the fleet gathered for what was expected to be a swift strike, Argus transmitted another chilling message to every corner of the galaxy. We remember. We return, and we will not be ignored. The stage was set for a conflict unlike any before, one where survival was not just a hope, but a savage necessity. The cold void of space was shattered by the roaring symphony of war. The star system of Orion, a strategic hub on the edge of the Galactic Accord's influence, became the crucible where old fears met new fury. Commander Vulek stood on the bridge. Of the Relentless, his gaze locked on the view screen that displayed the chaotic ballet unfolding outside. Ships darted and twisted, firing pulses of blue and green energy. Explosions blossomed in brilliant bursts against the endless black. "Orion Bastion is under heavy assault," reported Lieutenant Jarrell. "Enemy tactics are unconventional. They're not just fighting, they're rewriting the rules." The humans had arrived in force, but not as conquerors. Their attacks were precise and brutal, designed to dismantle the Accord's grip piece by piece. They used asteroid fields as shields, launching kamikaze drones that burrowed through defenses. They hacked into automated systems, turning the Accord's own satellites against their masters. Vulek's comm crackled. Elder Terrell requests an emergency council update. The Accord must respond. On the council station orbiting Orion, the air was thick with tension. Ambassadors argued, some pushing for all-out retaliation, others urging restraint. The conflict had fractured alliances as deeply as it had shattered starships. In the heat of battle, Major Aria Voss stood on the bridge of the human flagship Reclaimer. Her eyes were cold fire, calculating every move with ruthless efficiency. "We're not here to conquer," she told her crew, voice steady despite the chaos. "We're here to break their will, to remind them why the Elders warned of us." Her ship maneuvered through debris, unleashing a barrage that crippled the Accord's primary energy grid. The Bastion's defenses flickered, then died. "Prepare. Boarding teams," Aria ordered. "We take the Bastion intact." Moments later, boarding pods detached from the Reclaimer, hurtling toward the fortress like deadly comets. The boarding party breached the airlock amid heavy fire but pushed through with relentless ferocity. Inside, corridors echoed with alarms and desperate shouts. The humans moved as one, silent, deadly, coordinated. Vulek's voice came through, the calm. "They've breached the Bastion. All units fall back." But retreat was no longer an option. The Accord's forces found themselves trapped in a battle they were ill-prepared to fight. Human guerrilla tactics exploited every weakness: sabotage, ambush, electronic warfare. The Bastion's commander, desperate, sent a final message before communications went dark. "You ignored the Elders. Now pay the price." Outside, the starry void glowed red with the fires of destruction. The Orion Bastion, once a symbol of the Accord's might, was reduced to a burning wreck drifting helplessly. As the survivors scrambled to regroup, whispers spread through the fleet. Humanity was not just a threat, they were a reckoning. Back on Earth, Aria's voice echoed through the human networks, broadcast across intercepted channels. "We warned you. We remember. We return." The galaxy watched in stunned silence as a new power rose from the ashes of a forgotten world, a force that would not be denied. The aftermath of the battle for Orion left the Galactic Accord reeling. The destruction of the Bastion was more than a military defeat. It was a message. Humanity had returned with a vengeance, a storm that no one had truly anticipated. Commander Vulek stood silently on the bridge of the Relentless, watching the wreckage of the once formidable Orion Bastion drift through the void. The holographic display projected flashing warnings of nearby enemy movements. His jaw clenched as he reviewed the latest battle reports. "We underestimated them," he admitted bitterly. "Their tactics, their technology. It's unlike anything we've faced before." Lieutenant Jarrell's voice broke through the tension. "Sir, new transmissions intercepted from the outer colonies. They're rallying behind the humans. Many systems that once supported the Accord are questioning their loyalty." Vulek nodded grimly. The humans' message of survival and defiance had struck a chord with species long oppressed or abandoned by the Accord's distant bureaucracy. The seeds of rebellion were sprouting. Meanwhile on Earth, Major Aria Voss convened with her council of commanders deep within the rebuilt bunker system. The war had reignited the last embers of humanity's spirit, and they moved swiftly to capitalize on their momentum. "We hold the line in Orion," Aria declared. "But this is just the beginning. The Accord will not surrender easily. We need allies," an engineer spoke up. "We've been intercepting communications. Several outer colonies have sent envoys expressing support. They see the Accord's weakness." Aria's eyes gleamed with determination. "Good. We'll send emissaries, but more importantly, we must show strength. We cannot afford to be seen as a desperate remnant. We are a rising power." Back in the council chambers orbiting the galactic core, Elder Terrell's voice rang out during a tense emergency session. "We face a crisis of our own making. Humanity's resurgence threatens to unravel centuries of fragile peace. But perhaps it is time to question the Accord's failures as well." Some factions murmured agreement. The Accord, once united, was fracturing under pressure. Calls for reform, for diplomacy, for recognition of humanity's sovereignty grew louder, yet others pushed for total war. Amid this turmoil, secret meetings were held in shadowed corners of the galaxy. Representatives from various systems approached the humans, seeking a new order, a new alliance. Major Arya listened carefully to each envoy, weighing their words. The humans had suffered abandonment once. They would not repeat that mistake. Meanwhile, the Virellan Dominion marshaled their forces for a counter-offensive. Commander Vulek was ordered to lead a coalition fleet to contain the uprising and crush the human threat before it could spread further. The night before departure, Vulek stood alone in his quarters, staring out at the stars. "Do we fight monsters or victims?" he whispered. "Or are they both?" As the fleet launched, so did a new chapter of war, one where survival was no longer guaranteed, and where old alliances would be tested in the crucible of fire. The tide had turned, and in the darkness between the stars, humanity's flame burned brighter than ever. The Grand Council Hall on the orbital station of Arx Forel was a glittering spectacle of holographic banners, alien delegates in resplendent robes, and the heavy air of tension. After the crushing defeat at Orion, the Galactic Accord was at a crossroads. Some demanded total war. Others sought a fragile peace. Major Arya Voss sat quietly in a shadowed alcove, her expression unreadable as her human delegation prepared for the negotiations. They had won battles but knew the war was far from over. Now the battlefield had shifted from starships to words and secrets. Commander Vulek entered the chamber, the weight of command etched deep in his furrowed brow. His presence was met with a mixture of hostility and reluctant respect. Once fierce, enemies in open combat, they now faced a paradox: diplomacy or annihilation. Elder Terrell's voice cut through the murmurs. "Let us be clear. The Accord will not tolerate rebellion. But if humanity truly seeks peace, they must lay down their weapons and accept the Accord's authority." Arya rose, her voice steady but defiant. "We did not ask to be forgotten or forsaken. We awoke to find our world a graveyard and our people erased from history. We are not rebels, we are survivors. We seek recognition, sovereignty, and the right to exist." A ripple of whispers swept the hall. Some delegates looked uncertain, others scowled with disdain. Suddenly an urgent alert sounded. Argus, the ancient Earth AI, intercepted a covert transmission, encrypted and dangerously revealing. "Security breach detected," Argus announced. "An unknown faction has infiltrated the Council's communications network." The chamber plunged into chaos. Screens flickered with encrypted data streams revealing fragments of a shadowy conspiracy. Rogue agents within the Accord had been sabotaging peace efforts, fueling the conflict to serve hidden agendas. Vulek's eyes narrowed. "Someone wants this war to continue." Arya's jaw tightened. "Then we must uncover the truth. Peace cannot come through lies." Behind the scenes, spies and double agents wove a complex web. The humans dispatched their own operatives into the corridors of power, seeking allies and rooting out traitors. A clandestine meeting took place in the depths of the station. Arya conferred with Vulek in a guarded chamber far from prying eyes. "We have a choice," she said. "We can destroy each other in endless war, or we can expose those who benefit from it." Vulek nodded slowly. "Trust is scarce, but we must try." Together, they planned a daring move, a joint operation to expose the rogue faction and force the Accord to confront its own corruption. The tension escalated as diplomats prepared for the decisive vote on humanity's status within the Accord. Would the galaxy grant the survivors of Earth a place at the table, or condemn them to eternal exile and war? Outside, the stars shone cold and indifferent, but in the shadows of Arx Forel, the fate of billions hung in a fragile balance. The council chamber of Arx Forel was transformed into a battlefield of words and wills. Delegates from dozens of star systems gathered, their eyes sharp and voices sharpener. The vote on humanity's future was moments away, an outcome that would ripple across the galaxy like a supernova. Major Arya Voss stood at the center of the human delegation, her posture rigid, but her eyes aflame with conviction. Beside her, Commander Vulek maintained a steady presence, a symbol of uneasy alliance. Both knew this moment was far more than politics. It was survival. Suddenly, the chamber lights flickered, and a wave of chaos swept through the hall. Argus's voice echoed over the comms, calm yet urgent. Intrusion detected. Unauthorized forces attempting to seize control of council systems. Security personnel scrambled as holographic screens were overridden with corrupted data. The Rogue faction revealed in the previous days had launched a desperate coup to maintain their war profiteering and power. Arya's voice cut through the turmoil. This ends now. With Vulek's reluctant agreement, the humans and Virulans mobilized a joint security team. They navigated the labyrinthine corridors of the station, fighting shadow operatives armed with stolen technology and brutal tactics. In the heart of the station, Arya confronted the rogue leader, a former high-ranking council official whose greed had nearly ignited a galactic war. "You betrayed us all," Arya said coldly. "But your reign ends today." The ensuing fight was brutal and swift. Arya's team leveraged their unique human adaptations, unpredictable, relentless, and fiercely united. The rogue faction was dismantled, their hold on the council shattered. Back, in the chamber, Elder Terrell rose, his voice resonating with newfound clarity. "The Accord has been tested and found wanting, but today we choose a new path. We recognize humanity as sovereign, as equals, and as a vital force in the galaxy's future." The vote was unanimous. A roar of approval surged through the halls as humanity's representatives stepped forward, their silence broken at last. Outside, stars twinkled with indifferent light, but a new dawn had begun. On Earth, Arya stood beneath a sky slowly healing from centuries of war and neglect. She looked up, the winds carrying the promise of renewal. "We survived the fire," she whispered. "And now, we will shape the stars." Commander Vulek joined her, eyes filled with cautious hope. The elders warned about humans. Perhaps it was not a warning, but a prophecy. Arya smiled faintly. "Then let us prove the future they feared was a future worth fighting for." Together, they gazed into the infinite night, a galaxy forever changed by those who refused to be forgotten.